Good afternoon, everyone. Would you like me to use the microphone or without a microphone? Without, right? Yeah, I was thinking the same because maybe we can have a personal conversation today, right? You probably have seen me on the stage. I have to be very careful how I move because the IT manager told me don't go beyond this point and don't go beyond this point too because he has to record. Hello, everybody in Addu. Hi. Can they see me or they can only hear? They can hear. Okay. Is Ali there? You know, Ali is Ali, right? He's Ali Nasir. You know, we were classmates. Yes. So, okay, my slide deck is up, right? All right. So, welcome everyone, and very good afternoon. I'm very privileged to be here. Adam invited me to speak, and usually I cannot say no. And I'll tell you this, and I really mean this. If there's one institution in the Maldives that I cannot say no, that would be the audit office. And I really mean it. Because tonight I'm flying, I have a very long flight, about 17 hours trip to the States tonight. So, I thought I really wanted to give this time, since Adam asked and also. And I'll tell you why I said that. Because, I observe what public institutions do and how they serve what they do, because that's my interest. I do a lot of reading on that, and I check what they do. And I also check which institutions provide great service and which institutions actually do something that will help to make their employees better. And over the past 5 years, and I've told this to AG a few times and to Adam, I have really seen what your institutions have done, and the reputation of your institution has certainly changed compared to many other independent institutions in the Maldives. I mean, this is not a part of my talk, but this is more like, sharing how I feel about your institution. So why don't you take a moment and say thank you to the person next to you and say, this was possible because of you, like to the person next to you. Good. So Adam asked me to come and talk, and I said, okay, what do you want me to talk? He said, oh well, this is the Siri-Talk, and we wanted to, we want you to tell about, what helps you to do what you do best, and why you do what you do, and what has brought you from where you were to where I am today. There are two beliefs that I have. One is that success is a never-ending story, or success is a never-ending life. And you do one thing, there's next, and the more you do, the more you find. It's the same thing like if you take shortcuts, you find a lot of shortcuts, right? But if you do things with integrity and the way it should be, you'll find a lot of better ways to do it. So my topic here today is from success to significance, and I'm sure everybody gets this, what success is. And I just want to introduce this term and the concepts here. Success is that you do things for yourself because you want to get better. You study, you learn, you grow, you do training, development. Significance is what are you doing to your community or to the people that you work with because of your success. Like you earn a certification on a particular topic. What have you done over the past maybe few years because you got the certificate and nobody else in your community got the same certificate? Now when you started doing things like that, that's what you call as significance. And that won't happen automatically. You have to be very intentional about it. Like, you can't wake up in the morning and say, oh, what's up today? Okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. There are people who live like that. Maybe they could be very successful, but it's challenging for them to be very significant. So I'm going to share 3 stories with you today, and after I'm going to open for questions. Probably we have a lot of questions to ask. So here's my first story. I am from Addu. Maybe some of you already know. I'm from Hindu. In our family, we have a football team. We have 4 brothers and 4 sisters. And mom and dad, so it's 10, then we just have to find a neighbor, which will be the goalkeeper. And some of my sisters and brothers, they got married now, so obviously we do have more than a football team now. And my father was a fisherman, and he was a very significant person to our community. In fact, he was the first fisherman in the Maldives who actually brought a modern fishing boat from Colombo about 4 decades ago, so about 40 years ago. So quite a significant person, and he worked very hard. We grew up. But I was in my family. Everybody studied. I mean, they worked very hard. But I'm always a very curious guy. So when I come back from school, because I did my primary school in Haddu at Education Center, and then I joined Southern Secondary School back then. Now it's called Sharafuddin School. And when I was in grade 8, I come back from school at 1:45, and I just I wouldn't even refer to my books for homework. I would go to the class the next day. I was an okay student. You know what an okay student is like, right? And my brother, who is the permanent secretary at the Ministry of Education, Ahmad Ali now, he's now the new permanent secretary. He's a little bit older than me. I think about a year. But he's very competitive. And we were in the same school actually, because my parents waited to send both of us at the same time, thinking that we both will be very good, As I said, I was a good student, but I had a very good friendship with my teachers. I respected them, but I was probably not studying very hard, because for me, like getting A, B wasn't really what at the time in grade 8, but I just enjoyed my school time. When we finished grade 8 in 1996, December, we got the reports, right? So my brother came home and he got an A report. I came home, I got an E report. Now, if you don't know what E stands for, E means enough. Right? It doesn't mean you're failed, by the way. I never thought that way. Enough means. And enough, I did get, by the way, promoted to 9 because it was on the borderline. And something changed me in 1997 January. We had a prize day at the school. I was in the cadet. I was involved a lot in extracurricular activities, which I give credit to a lot of leadership skills that I have learned over the years. And it started from there. I was in the cadet, I was in the English club, in the debate club, or whatever the club they had, I was there. Right? So in 1997 January, there was this prize day. And I was in the audience as one of the student of the school. My best friend at the time, and we were very, very close because I was in grade 9, but back then he would actually give, in fact, his books, that he would take notes in the class to me. He won the best all-round student prize. So I said to myself, if he can do this, why not me? So I went back home. I said, I have to. I was not doing it for my parents, by the way, or I was doing it for myself. My father was also, why do you get E and Ahmad gets A? I said, well, he's just smarter than me. Right? So, and I started a new plan of what I was doing. I would come from school at 1:45, pray 5 times a day. I would study really hard. Because I was not a very smart student, I had to study twice the level that my brother was studying. Right? And I would even take tuition from my brother, because we didn't go to tuition back in those days. Grade 9 finished. I got promoted to grade 10, this time with a B report. Which I think you know what that means, right? What do you think B means? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was better than E. Right? And And now I'm in grade 10, so we're writing the oral exam. Back then we got an extra exam, so I was studying very hard. And the practices that I had back in those, I would go to all my neighbors who finished grade 10 that year and say, hey, can you give me your notebooks? And I got the notebooks from all the best students, right? So that's basically what I would refer, because you remember the textbooks that you were using for a decade has not changed. So you got the same textbook and it's okay, but maybe these notes probably would help. So I studied really very hard and I prayed that I'm going to be a very good student. I finished O-level. O-level result came in June 2000, sorry, 1999. We had the praise day in July. I was the best all-round student of Southern Secondary School that year. And I was also the best all-round cadet. And I was the most disciplined cadet. And I just shared this story with you because if you want to create a life of significance, the most important thing that you have to have is, this one should be working today unless there is an issue with the weather and this. Is working? Yes. If you want to create a life of significance, the most important thing you have to do is that you got to stay focused. Stay focused on why you started, right? And the credit I give to the discipline that I had, not better facilities. I don't even remember using an internet back in those days. I'm talking about the years of 1996, 1997, 1998. We only had one internet cafe in the entire island of Italy, which was in Iraq, and there's only 4 computers, right? So you can imagine the queue line that you would have if you want to use the internet, right? But then we didn't have to use the internet. And every time I encounter struggle, I always go back to why I started this, why I started this pattern of studying, why I started reading this, why I started doing this, why I started doing that, and eventually it helps you to keep going, right? And obviously that helped me a lot, during that grade 9 and 10 helps me to do a lot of things that I was not doing before, organize myself, but the key reason why it happened is because I was focusing in everything that I was doing, right? Now I have a question for all of you here. How many of you go to gym on a daily basis? Raise your hand. Oh, please bring a wellness speaker here next time. Right? But maybe some of you go, it's okay. I go. On 1st of December, I'll be running my first marathon, 42 kilometers. Right? And I have a very serious training plan, by the way. And in fact, it's in my phone. And I check it every day. When I go to the gym, I check what am I supposed to do today. And then also I would call my fitness trainer and I say, am I doing the right thing today? Right? Because you can't take shortcut and expect to run in 60 days on a marathon in Singapore. Right? It's not about my marathon that I ask the question. When you go to the gym, like let's say you want to lose weight, maybe you want to get in shape, right? Or maybe you want to run. The first day you go to the gym, you will see a result? No. Second day, will you see a result? No. Go 14 days, will you see a result? Maybe you will feel it, right? Actually, when do you start seeing the result? At least after 1 month. No, that's too hard. 3 weeks, you will need at least. To see some changes or result, you will see at least 3 weeks, right? So the key thing is focus and focus. And many of you have seen me before. One of the reasons why I have lost about 22 kg over the past 18 months is every time I go to the gym and it's so tough, I say, why am I started this? Okay, keep going, right? And for 3 months, no results, right? And even my gym will tell me, well, I see you go to the gym every day. Why do you go there? I just say, I got to check the quality of the machines there. Because, the quality director, and he wouldn't say anything, But then, the result came at one point, right? So which I did my first half marathon last year, and since then I've done few runs across. And this one thing we really have to remember: whatever we do, if we want to create significance, if we want to add value to the community, it starts because I'm sure you do face this. You start something, and you, okay, how am I going to continue this, right? Stay focused on why you started, right? And the next thing that I want to talk about is this is a big challenge that everyone in this world is having. Please read that one with me. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Okay. If I call anyone from here, who would come to the stage and give a 5-minute speech? Raise your hand. Anyone? I'm going to call one of you, and you're going to come and say, you ready to do that? No. Okay. Some of you at the back, Afeef, please don't do that. Right? Thank you. Now, you know why? Because many of you here, you believe, you know you can do a talk. I mean, everybody here can do a talk. Everyone can do a talk. Even if this is your, is there anyone who this is your first job? Like you're working here, this is your first year of work? Anyone? No. Even if it's your first job, you can do it. But what is holding us back is that, oh, if I go to the stage, what are they going to think about me? Are they going to believe in my message? Right? How I started my speaking, I suppose the story of the speaking and how all these things came, a lot of hard work went around. But I want to tell you one story. When I was studying in Malaysia, so there was a conference called the National Achievers Conference, which is basically an event that was done in Singapore and Malaysia, then it went to the Philippines and a couple of other countries. But what they do is they actually bring a lot of speakers. And if you have a book, you basically talk about your book and you just go to the stage and speak. So I wrote to them that I would like to speak. And in 2002, they said, no. We are full, so okay. 2003, so I would write to Malaysia and Singapore both. So it's like twice a year, right? So I keep on writing and speaking and meeting with them. Like when we speaking, I mean like meeting with them everywhere I would go, right? And after 17 emails and conversations, I got my first chance to speak in a public event. 17, right? And in fact, they didn't even ask me when I was, pushing so hard that, Mr. Afeef, could you tell me how much you are charging? And I'm studying, by the way, back then. I just looked at the email and I said, oh, this is a nice question, But of course, I told them, this is not about charge. I just want to come and speak in your conference because I think I can learn a lot from you. And of course, if you get to speak in the conference, you also get the conference fee free, right? Because the conference fee was about $500 back in those days, and my allowance per month is $300, right? So you can do the math and see how that impacts. So, and that's the first one. And HR Summit, I spoke 19 times. I wrote to them, and they got back to me, right? And if you were in the audit, in the last conference, you would heard the story that I shared about one of my mentors trying to push me to reach to the level of excellence, right? And the key point here is that at times that we get derailed from our projects and the things that we do because we're always thinking, what are they going to think about me? You see, I'm sharing this story, and I don't have anything in my mind that what are you going to think about my story. What I am thinking is what I know I have a story I want to share with you. I know I have a story that has helped me to who I am today. I am believing in the story, hence I'm sharing the story with you. And this is the success of every talk that I do, whether it's business related or whether it's specifically focusing. I mean, last week I spoke to a group of tech experts in the Maldives, like the best tech guys in the Maldives. And I had a message that I needed to share with them. I went under the stage and shared with them. And here's one thing that I always believe. I don't make talks to make somebody specifically happy. I give my message because I believe in the message, and if that message relates to you in any other way, right, or in a way that's going to have a positive impact, take it on and make sure that you do something with it. And I think that's really what it's all about, right? Because a lot of the time we say, oh, well, I'm not sure because I can't do it, right? All of you here can do this, right? How many of you have been working here for 20 years plus? Raise your hand. 20 years plus? Quite a lot, right? You have a lot of story that the current generations needs to hear. And I was just told by AG that Nizar, right? Nizar's been working here for how many years? 39 years, right? And have you ever been late for work? One day. You even remember that? Right? One day, 1 minute. What happened?
Because it's ferry is help in the ferry.
Yeah, so there's some issue with the ferry. Yeah. So the ferry that you were coming from Viligiri to Malé was helping the other ferry, so you got to. You see, even remember that. You know, I tell you one thing. This is what our current generations needs to hear, right? And so everybody can do this. I mean, everybody can, because when Nizar can share his story to other people, right, in a way that is going to help them to learn something, that's where the significance comes. Because your success story, if you don't share with people, it stays with you, right? And we all have a story, by the way, here. And some of you go, oh yeah, but we only work in the last 15 years. I don't know how to define success. We all have a success story. Turn to the person next to you and say, you have a success story. Tell them. Good. And here is the thing. You can go to internet, dictionaries, research papers, case studies. There are hundreds of definitions of, am I good with timing? Yeah. There are hundreds of stories with definition of success. You can define the success the way that you want, right? Because if you ask from me how I define success, it will be very different to Adam, right? Very different to Niazi, very different to Ayman, very different to my classmate Dean. Right? You were classmates, right? Yeah. I'm just checking if you still remember. Right? Anyone know? And even Shifana, right? Shifna, sorry, Shifna. Did we had a classmate called Shifna and Shifana?
Yeah, it was a Shifana.
So I'm right then, I'm not confused. Good. So yes, yeah, they were like classmates. Yeah, the way we define success will be different. So my key point here on this slide really is that the way that we define success, right, is up to us, and do not underestimate yourself because you try to compete with somebody else. Or you think that, oh, well, he's doing it, why not me, right? And we all know that the biggest competition is ourselves, right? You know, I do not compete with anyone. What I do compete is myself. Every day I wake up and ask, what can I do better? What new things I can learn? Every year I set several goals, and I compete against those goals, and that's your best competition, right? Because here's the thing. I cannot go to Adam and say, hey Adam, I see that you're studying. Can you stop this until I catch up with this topic? It's not possible, right? Because he won't stop. Because you cannot control what someone else is willing to do. So the best competition is ourselves. And here's the other thing. We all have different things to do. I mean, we all have community work. We have our family, right? We have the office work. We have hundreds of things to do, right? But if we believe in our purpose of why we do it, it will help us to keep going. So why am I doing this talk today? What's my purpose? When Adam asked me, I said, what is the purpose of it? He said, share an inspiration story. We do this every month. And of course, I've seen, and I'm a regular observer of your social media posts, and so I know what's happening. And I knew these sessions were happening before. I didn't knew that this was the 8th talk. I knew that. So it seems you've been doing it every month. So that's the purpose why I'm here today, right? So here's my question to you. How do you define success? Turn to the person next to you and share. Like, tell them one word or a little talk around that. Have a conversation. Success, how do you define that? All right, come back. You see, for my father, success was this: to make sure that all the 8 kids, they finished their school, high school, and we are, to keep or take us to a level where we are all independent. That's how he would define success. He don't own a shop. He don't own, we actually in fact in our island, we have one of the biggest plot of land. It's kind of empty, But that's how he defines success. Very happy with the way that, and I in fact asked that question to him. But I have a very interesting story to tell you about my father and the public speaking. So, in 1992, there was this Fisherman's Day, and the president at the time, His Excellency Mahmoud, was in Nadu, and there was a big event. I was a very small kid at the time. I was in school, and we were in the audience. So, Minister of Fisheries was looking for a speaker on the spot. The ceremony is about to start at 9 o'clock in the morning, and this is 8 o'clock. Minister of Fisheries came, and all the fishermen were there, like everybody was there. There's about hundreds, and said, "President would like to hear from fishermen. This is the last item on the agenda because President just shared that with and we needed someone." And everybody said, "Oh no, we haven't done this, we haven't done this." And there was one guy in the audience who said, "I can do this." And then I looked at it and said, and everybody said, "Oh, that's your father." I said, "Okay, well, let's see." He didn't practice the speech. So he went onto the stage because President wanted to hear the views of fishermen and what government can do to improve the fishing industry back in the southern part of Maldives. He went onto the stage, and he was speaking like he probably practiced the speech the night before. And I asked my father, "Hey, you did that speech. How did you do that?" He said, "We learn to do that every day after we come from fishing trips. We would go and speak with all the other fishermen. So I knew all their concerns. I just went onto the stage and shared it. Did I do a good job?" I said, "Well, we haven't studied the public speaking topic yet in our primary school, but I don't know. But I think they all enjoyed it because they all were clapping and laughing." So then when the president went also onto the stage after, and he said it was one of the best speech he has ever heard from a fisherman. So now when my father, he would see me on TV sometimes, and he would say, "Your techniques are very different the way we used to speak." That was a little humble story and that was the last thing he said to me when I met him recently. And this is also a very important thing. Add value to others. And starting point of creating a significance life is to make others better because of your presence. Significance starts only if we can add value to other people. It only happens if we can, compound and multiply and share what we know and what we have learned, right? Because if we can't share this to other people, then it just stays with us, right? Imagine the talent that is in this room here. What are you doing to contribute to your community, right? What is the voluntary work that you are doing? Because not every work will get paid, and not every work needs to be paid, right? But every work that you do will get its pride, will get its compliments, and there will be well-wishers who actually will take you even to the next level if you keep adding value to other people, right? And I get now invited a lot to events to speak, right? My first question always is, what's the objective? What's the purpose, right? But then those who invite sometimes would say, "Afeef, I would like to come and speak to you." And this happened recently. there's an office who come and say, Afeef, we heard you speak at this event, and we would like to come and you to talk about customer service to our people. We think you are a great speaker, like on one nose. I mean, there's not even breathing. And I said, okay, yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you. And by the way, Afeef, our budget is very little for this. I said, thank you, nice to hear from you, and thanks for your compliment. By the way, what's the size of the audience and what's your objective? Why do you want to do this? Is this a one-off thing, like you do this, right, and then no other training? What is the purpose of this, right? And I said, I want to meet to discuss. So I went and met. I said, what is the objective of this, right? But the first thing they're telling me, oh no, if you have to let us know your budget. I said, you need help, I'm here to help you. What do you need? And why do you want to do this? Oh, we have a lot of complaints about our front office staff here in this company, so can you help them to improve the service, right? Long story short, I did a session for them free of charge, because I realized the importance of that particular organization to our community, right? From the health sector. And I told the boss there, don't worry about the pay, because you need help, I'm helping you. And if you would like to continue this further, perhaps we can discuss about a long-term relationship. And that's it, right? And I'm happy I did that. And I know there were several others who benefited from them. There's a lot of citizens who went to get service from them, right? Perhaps the continuation they will need to think about, right? And that's what I'm talking here about. You have a talent within you, you have a skill within you, please don't leave that with you. Because one thing we 100% don't know is when we are going to die. We don't know that, right? Which means we don't have time. If we have a skill, don't say, oh, well, I know a skill, but I'm going to share this skill with other people only after 20 years. Right? You learn something, share it. You know, I go to all these conferences and events. When I come back, the first team that I share always my team. I make a presentation, I get all of them and say, hey, I was in here, this is what I learned. Right? That's what you call adding value to people. Right? And it could even be a story of something you encounter. You know what's the best storybook that you can find anywhere in the world? Any guess? The best storybook is your passport. How many of you have traveled this year to anywhere? I mean, like out of Maldives or even within Maldives, right? Everybody's traveled, right? Everybody, yeah. How many of you have been to at least more than one country in the world? Almost all of you here, right? You see, when you travel, that's where you actually get all the stories, right? Because, and even if you're not a frequent traveler, for example, many of you probably would travel around the Maldives, those are also stories, those are learnings, those are experiences, right? Share those with other people, because that's where adding value starts, right? And I ask this question always, when I wake up in the morning, and my routine is this, because I work in resort, many of you probably know, and I have a big team to look after, both properties plus a lot of corporate projects that I handle, so on different time zones. So we have an office in Singapore, we have in Vietnam, in China, in Turkey, so a lot of to really keep connected with all of them all the time. And every day I read. There are 5 things that I do every day, and I've shared this in one of the conferences before. Every day I read. So what time I read? When I'm having my breakfast, I'll have a book and I'll read. Right? Few pages, 2-3 pages. Right? Every day I add value to people. I would find someone to recognize, thank, or give a pat on the back. Every day I practice what I've learned. So if some of you, if you follow me on social platforms, I post a thought of the day. I don't just put a thought of the day like that. I take that thought of the day, I think about it, and I make a commitment to myself that I am going to live this commitment from today and beyond. And if sometimes I do something wrong, and it happens, right? I will always reflect back onto that thought, right? And number 4, every day I look into what can I do to develop myself or a better. And you know, it could even be listening to a TED talk. It could be listening to a documentary, or it could be listening to reading a case study or something that you are interested in, right? And the last thing that I wanted to share is this. This is the 5th one actually. Every day I live intentionally. What do I mean by this? Because you can either grow old or you can get old. What's the meaning of it? I mean, everybody goes down, what do you mean? Right? You can either grow old or get old. Meaning you don't have a control over your, you know, the number of hours and times and minutes is going to continue, right? I mean, you wake up today, you're going to sleep. Tomorrow, inshallah, you wake up and then you continue and live. You are counting the years. Here's what it means. What is today's date? 3rd of October 2019, right? So we are here, right? And maybe you are 27 years old, or maybe help you to be a bit younger, maybe you are 18 years old, right? And or maybe you're 40 years old or 50 years old. For sure, by next 3rd of October, you're going to be, you know, if you're 37, 38, right? So 1 year already passed. If you want to live a life of significance, you have to always reflect back. From this 3rd of October 2019 to 3rd of October 2020, what have I done? Or is just a year that passed? When you think about grow old, in this 12 months, you had lots of things that happened in your life, right? Probably good things and maybe not so good things too, because, and I've had a lot of failures. But every failure, I live by those 3 things. What did I learn from it? I stay focused, right? And then there's, you know, I mean, if I have to talk about my failures, I need a week. But if I talk about my success, I just need an hour. Because we learn from it, right? And you know, that's really how life works. So what I'm saying is that in these 12 months, you need to reflect back on people who focus on growing old. That's really what they do, right? And as I finish my talk, I just want to highlight 3 things. Number 1 is we all go through bad days, and I do too. We all do. There's no one. I mean, have you ever met someone who say, "Hey, are you having always a good day?" And they say, "Oh yeah, of course. Why not?" Have you ever met someone like that? No. But tomorrow when you wake up, it's really is your choice. Right? Because today is 3rd of October. When is the next 3rd of October? After 365 days. So why do you want to be angry? You know? Like someone made you angry, or someone did something to you, and then you know, for the whole year you are keeping the grudge and the anger within you. Why? And wherever you go, you are taking that with you and say, "Oh yes, I cannot get success because of what he did to me, what he said to me, or what she did to me, or what that company did to me." So how can you go? Because all of these things are like, I mean, you know, the more you try to take a step forward, those things are pulling you back, right? Let it go, right? The people who have disappointed me in my life and in my career, I forgive them, and they say, "Yes, go," because so that's why I'm free, right? I mean, I can focus on what I need to do. This is a very big problem a lot of people they have. If someone upset me today, you know, I will think about it, I reflect, and no such thing as a revenge. I will reflect back. What did I really do to make this gentleman or this lady or this person upset? I will reflect back. When I wake up in the morning, it's a brand new day. I don't live home with that, right? And this is something we, you know, I really encourage all of you. If you want to live a significant life, you know, really look into, you know, what baggages are you carrying with you, right? And if you need to forgive someone, forgive them, right? And let it go, right? Everybody do this with me. Let it go. Yeah. Meaning, if you have a something that you want, it's okay, right? And it really is okay. Because the good news is that we are all alive, we're all breathing, right? And we all have a responsibility towards ourselves, right? And here's my last message to all of you, right? We all have a purpose in our life here in this world when we are living, right? And we need to understand how we want people to remember us when we are gone. And this is a very important message. This is a message I reflect back on every day. Imagine you walk in here in this office, right? And you work for a few years, and you left this company, and you went to another company. How do you want people to remember you as a colleague in this office? Do you want people to remember, like, for example, if I come to AG and let's talk about Adam, because he will forgive me even if I say something that he may not like. Let's say if I come and say, hey AG, where is Adam? And AG says, well, he left yesterday. And I'm so glad that he left. I know he won't say, you know, right? So, or when I ask, hey, is Adam okay? No, he left. I'm so sorry, He was a really great guy. That gentleman, he ran the office for all of us. He was an amazing guy. He trained and developed us, and he probably wanted to have a different job, and he left. But I'm very happy for his growth. You see the difference of the tone? And one case he said, oh, thank God he left. On the other, but which is very most likely, he's going to say the last one I said, which is, I'm so sorry that he left, because the reaction is different, because Adam lived an intentional life so that he could leave a legacy. He could leave a legacy of positive and optimism within the culture that he worked. And the same thing is to apply with our with our family, with our neighbors, right? Also with the greater community that we live in. Because that's what you call living a life of intentionality, right? And the things that I do, there are a lot of negative feedbacks that I get, right? People do write comments on social platforms, and I'm very proud that I have never commented or replied to any of those, because you don't have to. You don't have to respond to anything that negative feedbacks that but you can reflect back, you can listen to it, right? Because the more you respond, the more you're gonna get, right? And and that happens, because we live in a world where a lot of different types of human beings are living here. So you want to live intentionally? Every single day, think about the last message that I gave. How do you want people to remember you? And what people want to talk about you, right? And always the negative stuff, don't get involved. Don't respond. Don't even reply, right? It's funny because people know me, and sometimes when somebody writes a negative comment, like there's an article about Miha recently, and about Mark. I'm the president of the association, and there's comment. And somebody said, hey, Afeef, you should respond to this. And I said, oh, thank God I didn't even check the comment section. He said, oh, why? And then he brought to one of the meeting, and he said, oh, you should actually respond to them. You should tell them we have a great purpose. I said, we know our purpose, but we don't have to prove to someone what our purpose is. We're going to keep doing what we are doing. So I hope you enjoyed my little time and talk with all of you. I know I've taken more than maybe most of the speakers. But now I open the floor for any question that you like to ask, and I'll possibly do my best to answer it as short as I can. Yes, sir. What's your name? Mohammed Ibrahim. Thank you. Yeah. Of course, I am a motivator, so I would also respond in Divehi. How many of you heard me speaking in Divehi in that conference? Maybe not much. I don't know, Swale. I want to say success. Then mega man, me continue to me. purta sivani mi success ka sunimo gatten nune ei komme bepulak success mi define kura goy parai batafatu misaka edam success define kura ta aw define kura ta by before success senge misaka ham holi life ka walk of family ge huriha member and grow up then got a house and all of those things by before success kam bani ane ni muli umuga mujtama hidumak koddino by before success me bani viyafari fahan viyafari kuriyaro by before success kam bani me misaka islam deenuga kanala humana first rukuna am barabar kuru na by before me wonnani mi huriya kas evvara kuru deenuga kantas barabar kuru adi viyafari kantas barabar kuru community ves barabar hiduma kuru adi amille nafsis lor kuru by before success misaka aram musade inge bade by before begam bak hisaba ka fansa sara hat fasu sara dia mengeni adibaka ba ono balanje health hita bebunatto e husasu wani etto ema swanaki it all depends on how we define success ema ono mitu ko swadana jawab ema success ki nimo chenno emiha potential of warakal emiha beenu wa dimada ka deve ka obviously ga wara wasakatte korette so I hope you like that question the answers thank you any other question yeah anything you want to ask Ada. Can we give your name is Zahid? No, Muhammad Ibrahim. Mani. Can we give Manik a round of applause? Mera awno challenge fedo legota saw mi baby kan eko mi awno mi challenge gotoga mi negi eka awno hitangeri kiba awno mi hada result mi libeni da awno evaluate koddi mi jasa masakka nokurati result libeni hama hen student unna evaraves awno besama kiwe awno ema ei amil evaluation me hadaje me go naso ehen kudin filavadas pura usuna kun awno das pane kin misaka weekend ga am kommi koitta baila eka bike kudin am komme dwa filavadas kuggenna ema eka self reflection na kummi dasvi aigatu ga mi ehen kudin pura masakka ham awno bes pura vega asse den game bod challenge gota naga self challenge gota naga masakko I think he's asking all the questions for all of you. Right?
Then we are running a note of the car, chicken, Buriha putting away with the people. Him toy, Hama, Adambi, Pala success,
Varagina approached the not the Varagina Gogutta Kana Hasa Providan. Miharo, me, Higatuga, Miharo, me, this was the Podde Masavara Rangalo. And then me story of Russia. I think the audience is also going to enjoy this. His question was, you remember I mentioned about I took the notebooks from a lot of my senior students and I followed. Isn't there any other way to do that? In recent, and this is a true story, I will not tell you the name of the school, but in one of the school in international school in Mali, where grade 10 students was given an economic one question economic paper which says what is the basic economic principle, and you know the basic economic principles are human wants are unlimited wants are every single student in the school 200 answered the question correctly, everybody got it correct. So the school was very curious. They randomly asked students, would you please explain how this economic principle relates to Maldives and give an example. Out of 10, only one student could respond. Emma, I want a note for tung asumi daskuri a practical by a man. Udaga teacher kevada minaga notes taki, mi wara tafat notes taki a kujangeti fahumwa with a notes minaga. Emma a notes a varam notes taki. Emisaka I want handa 1996 and 7 and 8. I think our best all-round student to a note from our unna alongara dihenni miro. Emma past paper of ma powerful chenge e kudin liya for notes taku we think with the system warta fa I think with the note taga for go warta fa em egen aron haigattu go textbook for marang maulumat tak libon e aron exam hay do saruga multiple choice wa nonna me aron ke business ehme me paper difa diha swal na ege first swal thingal tre jawab de mi je then eroga hama by for years of me gina don warakasha me marks ki be eka ega so idea ki haigattu tafat minds mindset take kude neke me kude kara so das korun e mo kauna ha
දෙන්න සුවාලේ කියන හර ඔන්නකොට මිරාලේ තිබුණ දේ වර සක්සස් මන්න වර නාකාමයාවේ දැන් මෙහර මේ දෙමලා මේ කාමයාව හොලා හරියාව තමයි ස්කූල් ගේ මේ මොල් ස්ටුඩන්ට් එක දින කියනතෝ ඒන රියැක්ෂන්
දේවා වරන් උපාවන්න and I දේවා වරන් උපා because what the same blood him we mama දේවා වරන් උපාව අනේ arag vedana be vaanu dukolle kauna but you know my brother is like my best friend yeah my ege best afa ham wara and in fact ane bebe avuna beru sa wara molos wane hem abe avuna hisab kiyawadi ni bebe agatto o leveling hisabun a libuni because of my brother I would say so there was no competition like that like about the family wisdom or not. Thank you. Did you set this up? Okay, very good. Yes.
exam takuga bayilin wa kamiyab natija de ekam e hoda etke amali madanu veche benu komuga begona eti successful none
ade
e kiyanatonto hen dima
e awunmenge mi rajyage kanyennon den dune warakina gamtawkes mi educational curriculum mi hartake ber change ne eka dune war par speed ke kore sakal rajya badava rajyage secondary education kiyawade fottawga technology ya artificial intelligence eka kantaka be mawlaturi kihawara katto maybe less than 5% adi avunu midakkane muli gawmuga service tawon purawahaka service sabe gotu hori kihawara katto eka exam ga textbook me swata men imma ko gossa mi jeni jawab de misaka mi jeni service de mi maadanuga kom stafat hunara be goto e hunara be mawlumat technically odan textbook eka ko ekete play kuran ne warapodu mismatching eba avunge mi education curriculum ma kudin exam takam hoya den e tankola higher discussion kanne den ehme mi as duniyage misaka korama bodati gamutawga mi ha warapodu mi exam ehen gotakam mi gendani ade textbook tawas durum molin life skill taka kantatta mi kiyade kurema fassaharuga mi e sawnang mi rajya kanyenno mi avuna mi masefene Sri Lanka me sarapodu India warapodu efene den India ge by state to me har education curriculum change kura me misaka A level ling evvan hoda kujja misaka stage matiga idea present kura nengumaki e kujja ga massen no e system avunmenna e kujja ge opportunity hodelde oti mai asere ga medima ema yes mege dima den tikama bego to on one day symposium is baby dan but that's the reality yeah. Any other question or reaction or thoughts to my comments?
When we talk about success, I think one of the issues we lose focus.
Yeah.
In this society, there's a lot of distractions like social media and many other responsibilities like family and office. So how do you manage your time to achieve a certain specific goal?
Yeah, very good question. So there are a lot of external things that are always impacting our success or what we really wanted to do, right, or achieving a specific goal. I always go back to why I started, right? So I'm talking about for example, let me give an example about my quest for excellence in the marathon. I want to finish in at least 4 hours, so which is quite a target. And I had a 6-month training plan, and I did not follow that, as per the training plan. But every week I would go back and say, okay, what did I miss? And I try to catch up. But if you have a plan, if let's say I'm supposed to run today 10 kilometers. In fact, in my plan it says 10 kilometers. So before I fly tonight, I have to run 10 kilometers, and I'll do it. But imagine if I missed that 10 kilometer today, and tomorrow I say, oh, I missed 10 yesterday, and tomorrow I'm supposed to do 8, so I would do 80. Would that help me to achieve my goal? No. Right? And that's the problem that we all have. So like, if you miss something today that you're supposed to do, don't stress too much, because even if I run tomorrow more than 32, I will not, because then I'm following the plan, right? Let it go, right? Start. Okay, this is my goal. This is what I want. Okay, what can I do from today to get there? So 2 months, like on 29th of September, I went to my coach and I said, look, I have not been practicing this properly. Please give me a 2 months plan, and I will follow the plan 100%. So I got a new plan which I'm following. Right? So the way that we manage is always focusing on what matters to us, right? I think if it matters, we will pay attention, right? Like for me, one thing that does not matter is, commenting negatively on social platforms, and I would never do that, right? So imagine the time that I would share. But if something positive, I would engage in the conversation. But how many people waste their time because of this? And you have a very good question. What's your name? Hussain, yeah. We have a very similar first name. I'm Hussain Afeef. So, but you have a very good question. The biggest challenge in our nation is that we are, among many in our country, citizens, right? Like you and me. We don't achieve the desired successes because we are too much into what's happening outside us. Okay? Someone did something wrong, we have to find out. Oh, who is that? How did that happen? I mean, forget it, let it go, right? Right. So I think, and this is why one of the reasons why we are inviting a public speaker from, the South Africa's name is Robin Banks. Maybe some of you have seen what Marple is going to do on 26th of October. He's going to speak exactly about that, right? How can you live? Because I do that often. I mean, I get a lot of different things around. Sometimes, people would ask me just to come and do something, and it doesn't add any value to me, or it doesn't have any value to their purpose. I would actually decline, right? And we have to learn how to say no. If you want to learn, sorry, this answer is a little bit long, but if you want to learn one thing that has contributed to what I'm doing right now over the past 10 years, I have cut down a lot on the number of times that I spend with people that does not add any value to me. So we have to look in who is in our inner circle. When I'm having a coffee with someone, I'm not talking about someone else. I'm talking about what we both can do to add value to our family, to the community, to the business. So if someone wants to have a meeting with me and discuss with me something, I am not interested in hearing complaints, gossip, right? And, the reason why you had someone, I don't want to hear that. What I want to hear is your challenge and how I can help you. And I intentionally, trust me, and I mean it, I intentionally practice that. I am you can't get me into a coffee table that is blaming someone. That will be try it. It will be a challenge. You maybe invite me and they start talking, because that is wasting time, right? So if you practice that, right? So go home tonight, right? You have a flip chart here, or you don't? Okay. Can I do an exercise for you? Do I have 1 minute? Right? I mean, your question is really very, very powerful, right? So, I don't see you. Oh, that was heavy, so I should run only 9K today. Okay, Hussain. This is you, okay? Oh, this is permanent marks? Okay. apology. I didn't do it purposely. Okay, sorry. So, okay, never mind. You find something to clean this, right? Okay, so this is you, Hussain. This will be easy to erase. Alright. These are all your friends. Okay? And these are friends that you go to coffee every single day, for example. I'm not saying you do. Maybe every day, someday go, someday. Maybe let's make it even nicer. You go twice in a week for coffee with them. Maybe not all of them, maybe 2 or 3. When you have coffee with them, what you get is always complaints, the problems that we have in the society. The likely chances of you getting out from that coffee feeling motivated and inspired, how high is it? I mean, you're gonna walk out like, okay, what a terrible life we live. But imagine if you have coffee once a month, for example, with all of them are very positive, right? All of them are very positive, right? And they're talking about, wow, I had a great time. Oh, by the way, there was a guy who came and spoke about inspiration. It's really good. This is all sharing, and okay, what are we going to do in the next week in our office? The likely chance of you leaving the coffee with happiness, inspiration is high or low? Very high. Because the people who talks this kind of problems to you and the negativity, what they add to you is what we call as red energy. Now, the people who give you positive stuff, what they add to you is called blue energy. Question is, do you want to be attached to people who gives you red energy or blue energy? It's your choice. There's a reason why we are always blue. Now you know why, right? I don't think you probably have seen me in another type of shirt or trouser. I always wear blue, right? It would look funny if I wear a blue shoe. Any other question? Hussain, did I ask you a question? Yeah, it was more like a keynote only for you. Thank you, Hussain. Any other question? No? All right, so if you don't have any question, I thank all of you, and thanks Adam and AG and also Salim for organizing everything and for being here today. It's the Thursday, I think, so you probably have a good weekend. So I wish you well and a healthy life, and I really mean it. The work that you do has inspired many institutions. Keep doing what you are doing, right? And don't worry about what other people say about your institution. Believe in your work. What you do has a very big impact in this country, right? And you are a role model institution. Have a nice rest of the day, everyone. Thank you.